Sega. That one didn't really have much of a preamble to it, did it? Yeah, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, which for some reason is a huge joke on the internet. I don't really get it. I get why featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series is a joke. I've never really gotten why and Knuckles is a joke. Once again, I'm going to waste your time by doing this obnoxious thing of reading the manual for a bit here, so bear with me. Sonic's adventure continues. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 take place on the mysterious floating island. I guess they hadn't named it yet. Which holds many special powers. The source of these powers are the Chaos Emeralds. In Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Sonic and Tails thought they had destroyed the Death Egg, which was Dr. Robotnik's heavily armored ship. Instead, Dr. Robotnik managed to crash land on the floating island. After learning that the island is able to float in the sky, by harnessing the power of the emeralds, the Doc decides to steal the emeralds so he can repair his Death Egg ship. That got retconned. That's implying that Angel Island uses the Chaos Emeralds to fly, but, even before the 3D games, in Sonic and Knuckles, we learned that that's not the case. The island flies using the Master Emerald. I feel like for some reason the American localizers wrote this manual not knowing that Sonic and Knuckles was going to be a thing, because they don't even call it Angel Island in this. Which is funny, because this game was originally developed. If you don't know, I'll talk about that in a bit, actually. To obtain the emeralds, Dr. Robotnik tricks Knuckles, the guardian of the floating island's Chaos Emeralds. He also tells Knuckles that Sonic and Tails are the ones trying to steal the emeralds. I think in, the Sonic Gems collection on, the GameCube, they actually rewrote the manual and said that the reason Angel Island crashed into the ocean, like it is at the beginning of this game, is because Robotnik crashed the Death Egg into it. It crashed into the island, and the force of that caused it to hit fall out of the sky and crash into the ocean. Which makes more sense to me, because, one of the biggest plot holes of this game is why the fuck is Angel Island in the ocean? That's super weird. Meet Knuckles the Echidna. Age, 15. Sure. Species, Echidna. What the fuck is that? Favorite food, fruit, especially grapes. Special abilities, discovering hidden passageways and using his Knuckles to dig. Knuckles was born and raised on the floating island, and he knows all of its secrets. He's strong, athletic, and clever. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Because Knuckles knows every hidden passageway on the island, it's easy for him to block Sonic's path, create extra obstacles, set traps, and steal Sonic's gold rings. Long ago, an ancient civilization lived on the floating island. Before the civilization mysteriously disappeared, it left behind many secrets and mystical powers. Being the only living descendant of this lost civilization, Knuckles has become the guardian of the Chaos Emeralds. Again, retcon, it's the Master Emerald, which are the source of the island's special floating power. Dr. Robotnik's Death Egg has lost its ability to fly after crash landing on the island. Having learned that the Master Emerald can make the ship fly again, the Doc decides to steal the emerald. But first, he must make Knuckles believe that Sonic and Tails are his enemies, and they're the ones trying to steal the emeralds. Once Knuckles believes Robotnik lies, he'll do whatever it takes to stop Sonic and Tails. And a small little Foxeh child backstory. I kind of like Knuckles as a kid, and the manual here has a picture of him, as you can see if I'm editing it just right. And what I did is I kind of carefully ripped the manual's pages to take the picture out and ate it. And I was like, now I'll always keep Knuckles close to me. So I started early, basically. Anyway, I don't know why I told that story. So, this is Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and the story about this, if you don't know, is that originally the game was developed as one game, but to meet the deadline, they had to release like the first half of the game early as one title, and then the second half of the game got released as Sonic and Knuckles with patented Sega lock-on technology, so you could just snap Sonic 3 on top of the Sonic and Knuckles cartridge, and then you would have the actual full game as it was originally intended. Something else that was cool is you could snap Sonic 2 on top of the Sonic and Knuckles cartridge and play as Knuckles in Sonic 2, which is pretty nifty. So here's my favorite thing about Sonic 3, is it has save states, which are really fucking cool. So you don't have to just start the entire game over from scratch every single time like in Sonic 2. And once you beat the game, it becomes a level select. So you basically have New Game Plus in this game, which I always appreciate. You can start the game over from square one, having all the Chaos Emeralds, so you can be Super Sonic right from the beginning of the game. Oh man, I wish fucking Sonic 2 had that feature, but we're gonna go ahead and start a fresh save file as the dynamic duo Sonic and Tails going out to investigate this mysterious new island that suddenly appeared out off the coast. That's the that's what you're led to believe from the intro, at least. And of course, Sonic kept the Chaos Emeralds from Sonic 2. And he can turn into Super Sonic. Oh shit. And then Knuckles steals all the Chaos Emeralds like a bitch. And now, Zone 1, Angel Island. So I like that bit of continuity. You never really see that ever again in the fucking series. Sonic actually held on to the Chaos Emeralds from the second game and uses them right at the beginning, and they take the time to justify why he doesn't have them anymore while introducing this new character, this new antagonistic character. Like, that's pretty good storytelling. Like, Sonic 3 is, I want to say, is very easily the best of the classic Sonic games. Sonic 2 is my personal favorite. This is probably the best Chaos Emerald special stage, by the way. As in, it's the one I have the least trouble with. Sonic 2 is my personal favorite, but if you, like, it's one of those things where, like, Sonic 2 is my favorite, but Sonic 3 is the best one. Sonic 3 is undisputably the best in the series. The graphical they've stepped it up graphically. The gameplay improvements are, like, a huge, positive thing. There's even, like, a degree of storytelling to it. Whereas, like, I was talking out my ass and making shit up with implicit storytelling in the old games. Son of a bitch, why am I fucking this up? In the old games, this one actually has an explicit narrative, starting right there at the beginning, where, like, the game establishes Knuckles as your antagonist by having him in, like, right at the beginning of the game there, steal your shit, and you're like, fuck that guy. And that'll keep happening throughout the fucking game, actually. This game does a pretty good job of presenting Knuckles as an antagonist. He's actually, like, a better antagonist in this game than Robotnik's been throughout the rest of the series. Robotnik's just the boss at the end of the stage that you gotta go fight. In this, Knuckles actually in gameplay, it, like, has some great douchebag moments that make you be like, ah, fuck that guy. Also, I wanted to point this out. Look at Sonic's sprite. It's much different. He's actually got a different sprite compared to how it looked in Sonic 2 now. He's got lips, you can see his little smile. He's got a little white spot on his belly, showing, like, the sun reflecting off it. His spikes are a lot more detailed. This is a different sprite entirely, which I think is funny because Sonic Mania is using the Sonic 2 sprite. It's using the visuals of Sonic 2 and not this one, which I think is interesting. Tails, on the other hand, looks basically the same with some minute differences, but it's in his, like, walking and in his movement animations are the differences. When he's flying, that's a completely new visual. He can now fly, quote-unquote, underwater by swimming, which I'm sure will come up, and I'll point it out when it happens. Like, just a huge graphical overhaul. There were very minor improvements on Sonic's sprite from Sonic 1 to Sonic 2, but in this, like, like, look at his flying animation there. Is visually distinct from how it looked in Sonic 2. For good reason, because in this, there's actual, like, gameplay capacity to his flying. In Sonic 2, he just kind of flew as, like, that was a function that was invented to justify him, like, popping up to follow you around. Like, if he ever disappeared off screen, he would be able to just fly in and, like phase into reality by flying in order to stay by your side. In this, you can actually play as Tails properly, and he's not just a clone. He has his own unique set of mechanics that incorporate his ability to fly. Like, Tails, in most of the games that he's playable, ends up kind of being the best character because he has the most mobility. He can traverse the levels the best out of all of the available characters because of his ability to fly. Which I'm very happy with, because Tails has always kind of been my favorite character, of course. Although, I'm thinking particularly of Sonic Advanced, which had had a guide, which would be like, Tails is the best character, because he can just do what all the other characters can't because he can fly, which I was always a fan of. And it's to a lesser degree in this game, but he's still able to, like, really traverse a lot of the environment that Sonic's just not able to, because he can frickin' fly. It's also been improved in terms of, like, the conveyance of him as a sidekick, because now, during the special stages, he's not a hindrance. In Sonic 2, you always had that problem where Tails lagged behind you and had a delay to his inputs, so he'd always end up getting hit by bombs and losing a ring or two, and that could mean the difference between failure and success. In this, in the special stages, Tails is, like, right behind you, his movements are one-to-one, and that shows, like, how he's grown into his position as Sonic's sidekick. He's keeping up. He's not a hindrance anymore. Tails never gets in the way in this game. And in fact, he's, like, very actively useful. There are various points throughout the game where Tails actively contributes, and you're like, holy shit, thank God Tails is here. Even if, you... God damn it, Tails. I was just trying to compliment you, and you fucking had to do that shit. Just had to do that shit. Whatever. There are moments where even if you're playing as just Sonic alone, Tails will show up because you actively need him for that section of the game. Like, just in general, the level design of Sonic 3 is this vast improvement all around. Like, a lot of the annoyances that you typically have with the classic games, where, like, the camera is not zoomed out enough to see where you're going, and you'll end up crashing into enemies or obstacles because you couldn't see where you were going, and that feels like a cheap hit. That rarely, if ever, happens in Sonic 3. In Sonic 3, and I call it Sonic 3, I don't call it Sonic 3 and Knuckles, or Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles. It's Sonic 3. The game was originally developed as the one game, and they had to split it in half. That's why Sonic 3, like, when you look at it just by itself, is dramatically shorter than Sonic 2. All the levels are bigger, and they have a better sense of flow to it. As you just saw, like, every act, like, you have Act 1, and instead of ending Act 1 by just getting to the end and flipping the sign and moving on, like you would do in Sonic 1 and 2, every act ends with a mini-boss, and then you immediately transition to Act 2 without running off screen and having that whole transitionary period you go from Act 1 to Act 2 seamlessly from the results screen, and then boom, they immediately give you control back, no black screen, no loading time, you're just good to go. So I am making a concerted effort to get all the Chaos Emeralds because of the fact we are playing the Sonic 3 and Knuckles. There's no like special ending that of having all the Chaos Emeralds versus not having them. Oh look, there was Tails swimming. We'll get a much better chance to see that in the next level, don't worry. What I mean is, because the last level of... Oh shit. What was I just talking about? Oh shit. Because the last level of Sonic 3, with this being Sonic 3 and Knuckles, what was the last level when it was just, fuck you, Sonic 3 alone, immediately just transitions into the first level of Sonic and Knuckles. So we're not gonna have an ending where we see, like, and here's what happens when you beat the final boss of Sonic 3 with and without the Chaos Emeralds, because it's just gonna immediately transition, and there is a reason to want to have... I don't think I skipped the waterfall, did I? There is a reason to want to have access to Super Sonic by the time you get to the beginning of the Sonic and Knuckles campaign. I will go ahead and show off the, like, regular ending of Sonic 3 by itself, of course, but... So I do have, like, the maps pulled up of all the levels so I can know where all the giant rings are to get to the special stages, because I do want to be able to get all the Chaos Emeralds before we get to the end of the game. And I usually always have trouble ever finding any of the special stages in any of the levels after this first one. I always have a lot of difficulty with that, actually. Like, after this first level, which are like 4 really easy to find just on your natural path, one after another. Oh, fuck! Oh, that's like the fucking trickiest part. One after another, then all of a sudden, oh no. This is bad. Okay. Okay. 4 more. Gotta get in there somehow. Okay, I can do this. Just gotta jump for it. Oh man, I really fucked myself in a bad position here. Yeah! Oh yeah, got all 4 fucking emeralds available right at the beginning of the first level. It's gonna make things substantially easier. I think ideally you can get all 7 by the end of the second level. I've never done it before because, again, usually I almost never find a special stage after this first level, because the levels get absolutely massive after this. It's just pretty difficult. And again, usually I can't even get the Chaos Emeralds on a first playthrough. Usually I have to save scum it. Or in this case, this having New Game Plus capabilities, where after you beat the game, it becomes a level select, and you can just go back to the beginning. You can just go ahead and... Fuck. You can just go ahead and... beat the game and then go back to the first level and just keep going to that first ring over and over, and then reset the console, select level 1 again, and just cheese it out like that. And getting, like, the second set of Chaos Emeralds is Tails, is even easier because, well, we'll get to that when we get to it. Oh, Tails, you're doing your best. It's okay, thank God you're immortal. What is this airship? Is it just because everything's on fire that it looks like a different color? That's pretty peculiar. Like, that's not air battery. That's not the airship that... Whew. You can very easily get fucked on that bridge, because the instant, like, it gets hit by the fireballs, this boss is really easy because you're literally invulnerable to the fire with the fire shield. The shields are a new addition to the gameplay, because you had shields in Sonic 2 and Sonic 1, but in this one they have elemental aspects to them. So, like, the water shield, it's a water bubble, so you can just breathe underwater forever. The fire shield makes you invulnerable to fire, which makes the lava stages really easy. Oh, look at this cunt. No! And again, look at how great this is. All of the levels have transitions that you see. Instead of just, like, going from one stage to the next, just, like, through a black screen, you actually see the transition. We are here in Hydro City because Knuckles dropped us down into the waterfall, and this is where we landed. And every level is like that. You have the transition from the area that the level you just beat, and you see them, like, going off screen somewhere, and then showing up in the new level. Which, again, I really like. That's, okay, now we don't have to worry about drowning anymore, because we got the water bubble, and I believe, yeah, this bounces off certain projectiles as well. And the electric shield, which typically is the best, but it goes out when you go underwater. You lose access to the... We saw Tails swimming again. Look at Tails hanging on! And again, like, if you remember, like, the Flying Fortress zone at the end of Sonic 2, I really loved that part where you were hanging on to, like, the panels on the ship, and you could press a button to control when they broke. No. And you have a lot more of that kind of thing in this game, which I always love. Like, any kind of, like... Oh no, can I not get up there without Tails? I think I can. Oh no, I think I missed it. I missed out on one of the secret stages. It's unfortunate. Like, if I had a second controller, player 2 could play as Tails. And you can get, like, if Tails jumps twice, if you press the jump button twice as Tails, he starts flying. Sonic can grab onto Tails' hands, and he will fly you up. And, like, player 2 can actually fly you around. But unfortunately, fucking... like, NPC Tails, I'm pressing the jump button twice, but for some reason he's like, nah, I don't feel like it, son. Fuck you, Tails. Oh no! Close one. So, missed out on that, unfortunately. So I'll just have to get the, make sure I don't miss the... Woo! Make sure I don't miss the next one. Because I really do want to get... Yeah, look at him swimming! Look at him swimming! Oh, he's a little foxy! I really don't want to... I really just want to getting all the Chaos Emeralds out of the way. Ah, damn. Like how I did in, really? Sonic 2, off-screen. Where I somehow got all of the Chaos Emeralds by the end of Chemical Plant Zone, but just by save-scumming it. Come on, Tails. Keep up here. Oop. Okay, it's... No! Ooh, no! I fucked it up again! Son of a bitch. You see what I'm talking about? It's really fucking hard for me to get the special stages. Even though I know where they are, I'm having trouble with it. Oh, damn. Oh, Tails got a hit for me at least. Oh, actually, that's a good thing. That gives me a chance to go ahead and... No, fuck you. Hooray. See, there's the difference between Sonic CD and all the other ones. There is a stop lock. You cannot go back. You are locked in on progression. Whereas in Sonic CD, I'm pretty sure I would have actually been able to go ahead and go back. Come on, Tails. Thank you. Super easy mini-boss, man. What was that, like 4 hits? You can keep this fucking sign going forever. I'm sure there's, like, leaderboards on fan forums or something for how long you can keep that sign going. And, again, we have the 3-way distinction between Sonic stages. Where we started out with, like, the natural, just the begin, like, the, like, Welcome to Angel Island stage, and now we are in a explicitly industrial style of stage, which is, like, a hydro pump stage of some sort that is still active. That's the difference, because this place is still in use by the island to, keep the water purified, which is the first hint you get that there's something going on with Angel Island. There's this fucking Wii controller, I swear to God. That there's something going on with Angel Island. Like, this is old. This is an old facility, but it's not... It doesn't classify as, like, a room. Like a ruin. It's still very much in use. It's still active, it's still maintained, but there's no real civilization to speak of on Angel Island from what we've seen. It's just Knuckles. The manual even said Knuckles is the last descendant of the people who used to live on Angel Island. No one else is here. But, like, even though it's been just Knuckles, possibly since as long as he can remember, although we aren't, like, we don't really get the full picture on that. Really? I mean, like, you can sort of gather the implication that Knuckles being the only one here living on the island is not a new development. It's not like his family recently died within his lifetime. You get the distinct impression that he's been alone since forever, and he's grown up just being, like, on this island by himself. Oh, that's a decent amount at least. And yet, like, despite the implication that whatever civilization used to reside here on this island has been long gone for quite a while... Yeet! I like the idea that Robotnik just made all of these robots while he was here, and just lied and told Knuckles that Sonic and Tails were responsible for putting him here on the island or something. Knuckles is stupid enough that he'd probably believe that. Ooh! What is happening? How did I miss that one? There we go. Despite how long the island has been reasonably abandoned, this place... What the fuck? Oh shit! Get off me! That's actually gonna make, like, getting another quick level really easy, though. Quick, one-up. This place is still, like, in immaculate condition. It's still functioning properly. So you get, like, the impression of, wow, even though no one's here, like, holding the place down, this place is still in working order? Huh. Like, in any kind of fiction, you usually get the impression that the ancient civilization that's, like, still got its, like, 100-year-old abandoned ruin still in working order and being maintained as if, like, with no difference, even though there's no people around anymore. You get, like, the impression of, like, wow, they were really advanced, technologically speaking. Even though it's, like, steampunky technology, it's still like, whoa! Ah, damn. That was a risk, and I was prepared to take it. Yeah, okay, we gotta go down here. No, I feel like... I'm trying to keep track of like the level design because I have the map open in my lap here, and I'm trying to keep track so I can fucking get to the next special stage. Where am I? Okay, there. Okay, I know where I am now. Like, I know it's a little bit annoying to be like, I'm gonna have to edit out these pausings where I'm checking the map. But I really do want to get all the all the Chaos Emeralds, and I am just incapable of doing that without fucking cheating. Here we go. Okay, please don't fail on this. This is the 5th emerald. Ideally, I don't fail on this, and then I've only got 2 more to go. Because again, like, the fucking Sonic 3 is fucking super short. There's only like 6 levels. And they're big levels? Oh no, why'd I do that? Turn too early. If you don't... If you can trace the outline and that turns them into rings, but if you don't, they just remain as red orbs forever, and you can really fuck yourself. Thankfully, there's not a lot here, so this is pretty simple. Whew. Can still easily fuck myself, especially since I don't have a super responsive controller. John's, but... Okay, last 4 are gonna be tough because we're going fast! Boom. Okay, 5th emerald down. And there's 1 more on this level, so... I'm gonna have to try and get that as well. But then we'll pretty much be in the gold because there's only 1 more after that, and then I can stop worrying about it